Okay, so let's discuss the lesson that I observed last Friday.
Okay.
The lesson focus was a word sort between types of energy, um, sound, heat, and what was
Light.
it? Light energy. First, I just wanted to hear your thoughts about how the lesson went.
I think overall they did good. They did a good job on it. Maybe a little better than I kind of thought. I mean, there was a lot of movement going around, but I think probably having coming back from a special and then doing it.
Yeah.
But I mean, it was okay.
So, what about so when we met previously, we talked about the needs for ELL learners in science.
Okay.
And I was wondering, how do you think your ELLs did on the lesson?
Well, there really wasn't any visuals with it, so that can be a challenge. I think some of them worked with the peer, so I think that was the support.
Yep.
They had some support there, but I think probably having some pictures could have been a better way to improve it.
Sure. So some of the things I saw
Okay.
that are really positive, and you nailed on one of them, was the moving around coming from special. I thought that actually showed a lot of the kind of instruction that you had put into the pre-part of the lesson. So the routines and the rules in your room were really strong. So while there was a lot of movement, I didn't see a lot of talking, and I saw a lot of people moving around with a purpose. So they came in from special, they were getting settled, and when kids come in, they're in fourth grade and they're getting settled, it's movement. But they did it with a purpose, and they sat down. I thought that spoke a lot to the routines that you've established in the classroom and the rules that you have of, okay, yeah, you can get settled, and yeah, you have to get your supplies, and you have to do this, and okay, you're coming back from your locker and you're going to go sit down, but it's going to be done quietly, and you have to move quickly, and you have to move with a purpose. So I thought that was really great. And then going along with that kind of curriculum planning and that instruction, those rules, routines, rituals, when you gave students some time to kind of work independently, they all did stay on task, even while there was talking. And the collaboration that you mentioned, I thought was a really important piece of the lesson, and I thought that was great. It looked to me, just thinking about the way you've organized your classroom, it looked to me that the students were set in groups in a very intentional way. Can you talk a little bit more about how you set those students up?
It's probably mostly based on behavior.
Yeah.
But intentional.
Yeah.
A mixture of boys and girls, strengths, weaknesses, a peer, especially
Right.
if someone is struggling
Yep.
with relationships, trying to find someone that I think would be a good match for them,
Yep.
or to help with the development of that relationship.
And it was, I assume also when you say strengths and relationships, like that you would be thinking about kids that are your level 1 ELLs, about how you pair them up with other kids, whether it be other level 3 or 4 ELLs, or maybe fluent speakers. Can you speak a little bit to that?
There's so many ELLs in the class that there's 2 that are level 1s, and they actually sit together with one that tested out, so he's no longer. Again, so 3 of them all together. I think the one real strong one can definitely lead them.
Right.
But where they get pulled out so often, twice a day, these particular level 1s, it's kind of good to have them together. They kind of work together a lot. They remind each other what they need to do when it's time to go.
Yeah.
A lot of their assignments they can do together.
Yep.
So
yeah,
that has worked.
I think that seating is and kind of the intentional structure that you put into that, it helps set kids up for success, especially those ELL kids, and that's definitely a strength that I witnessed in the classroom. So you mentioned kind of like when the kids came into the room and you were starting your instruction, that there was a lot of movement. Would you do anything differently if you were to do it again?
I'm trying to think if they had snack right then, or
I don't think they did not.
They didn't. They hadn't. Okay.
They might have. I may not have been there for that.
Yeah, I can't remember exactly.
Don't remember seeing it.
I mean, maybe settling them down a little bit more. Maybe doing some more review or maybe a reading focused on the topic, just something to bring them back a little bit more.
Yep.
To settle them a little bit better.
Right, that makes sense. I should have seen it. Put this like right here, so that we could see both of us in the video. There, I think that'll. I don't know if that works, but it might do better. We'll see. All right. Okay. That way I don't have to hold it, and I can think a little bit more as well. Yeah, I think the reading. If you had given them some reading, to kind of settle them and get them focused, that may have been a strategy. Also to access their prior knowledge. That way they could. Oh yeah, that's what heat energy is. That's what sound energy is, or light energy, whatever.
So it wasn't like cold.
Right. I think that would have been. Thinking about how you might change it. That might be a really simple way to do it. Just get them settled and then focused on the material. Yeah. Yep. In our previous meeting, in the pre-lesson, pre-observation meeting, we talked a lot about collaboration being a central point of the lesson, especially as a strategy to help ELL students. I was able to see that in the lesson. I was able to observe all the collaboration, and I had some really good I witnessed some really great conversations with students. One of the ones that I thought was really interesting was one student was talking about a monster a pet monster, and another student looked at him and said, "I don't get your question. That doesn't have anything to do with science." So I thought that was a really strong thing. One student was getting off task, and another student just reined him in and was able to. Yeah, it was pretty neat.
Good.
But I think that comes back to the high expectations that you set for your students. And I was wondering how you set those high expectations.
You know, I was just reading an article about this yesterday or the day before about what high expectations are as opposed to what we think they are. And it was something about people that have high expectations aren't people that give a lot of work or piling on the work or trying to make it harder. The article was saying it has to do with the person themselves and how they present themselves and how they've gone through situations in their life.
Huh.
I never heard that point of view before.
Right.
I think just constantly being on them, they're not gonna slide and not do it.
Yeah. So one thing.
Prodding, I guess.
Right.
I don't know.
Well, I witnessed when a student came up to you and they had thought they completed it and they gave it to you, and you actually didn't even say anything to them. You just gave an eye look and pointed, and then kind of sent them back, and they knew I have to go revisit some of these. So it was actually a really quiet kind of redirection. It was a silent redirection actually, and it was just a nonverbal cue that told that student, okay, you need to do more. That was, I think, really strong when you can give a redirection without actually saying anything and have the students pick up on it 100%. I think that's really great. Speaking of the high expectations, I saw another student come up to you, an ELL student who came up to you and didn't know what to do, and you gave him some strategies about organizing. And you'd said when you were introducing the lesson that you should organize these by category, like all the heat energy, all the sound energy, all the light energy. That would be a good way to keep the organization from becoming a mess all over the desk and just papers everywhere. And then he came up to you and didn't know what to do, and you kind of explained to him, well, read each one and think, is this heat or is this sound, and then start to place them. And when he went back to his desk, he was able to do that.
Good.
It's completely successful. I just watched him reading, processing, gluing, and it was and just going through that over and over again. So it was.
Good. He needed a little bit more direction or some way to organize himself.
Yeah, and that was it. And then then he really did it. He was working on task. And this is a student that I know just from going in there that's often a chatty one, and he was able to really focus his efforts. So that was really great to see. I heard the positive praise going around the room. So when you heard students talking, you said something like, I'm hearing some really great scientific language in the class, I'm hearing a really great scientific conversation, or something along those lines. And I think that speaks to the kind of the class praise and the very specific praise. Like, this is what I want to hear, and this is what I'm hearing. And this, so if you do more of this, you'll hear more positive praise from me.
I need to do that more though. I don't do it enough.
I think no one does it enough, right? It's like everybody wants to do more of that.
Yeah.
Yeah. But it was really great to hear it. And then there's like on the other side is like 5 minutes later, you know, and as kids do things longer and they're at different stages, there'd be more side conversations.
Mm-hmm.
So you were able to kind of say, oh, I'm hearing some side conversations. Make sure your conversations are focused on science. So it's just the other side of that, and a very gentle kind of reminder to bring them back to where they were. So kind of like the setup of your lesson, and then the getting into it, and then the actual lesson. I saw some really solid pieces of planning and what from the rules and the routines, and then the instruction, and then the kind of differentiating for different kids and setting up the room so that each kid has the ability to succeed was really great. So in our ELL objectives, we talked about, or our ELL kind of planning guide, we talked about setting up clear objectives for the kids.
Yep.
I saw those on the board, you know, very clearly placed. So this is kind of one of my critiques for you is to remind students of what that objective is.
Yeah, I don't do that either.
because-
Enough.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I think we all need to do that more. But because you have them posted, but if you could just revisit them, then they'll be posted more for a reason.
Yeah, more of a connection to
Right.
them.
In addition,
agree.
so also like when you give, and this is just this is kind of a suggestion that I've seen used successfully. When you give praise, if you could give praise that relates back to the objective. So I'm seeing students use scientific language about heat energy. I'm seeing you know, so that your praise is linking your objective to their learning.
So instead of just saying that they're having conversations about the topic more detailed,
Right. Yeah.
More
yeah.
like-
And just linking that objective, because that objective is what's going to carry them, you know, to the next objective.
Okay.
So if they can really focus on that, then they
a
can.
little bit more.
Yeah.
Okay.
So another thing we talked about with ELL students was the interaction with other students. I saw a ton of that. It seems like it was one of the major focuses of this lesson. So that.
It lent itself. This
Absolutely.
lesson lent itself to that.
Yeah. You mentioned that you wished you had more mediums, kind of like more visuals, or you had revisited the text. So I think.
Yeah.
Now, when I looked around your room, though, I did see visual things. That you have a poster of different types of energy, right?
Yep.
And then they also have their notes where they had some writing about energy in there. So there are multiple mediums, but I hear you saying that you wanted to do more. And that makes a lot
I
of
think
sense.
of it. Yeah, more would, especially for
Yeah.
the ELLs,
Yeah.
but for everyone.
Oh yeah.
Those who need it will access it,
Right.
I guess, and the ones that don't.
Yeah. And then another thing was like the kind of questioning to kind of drive at a deeper comprehension. Were you able to do that at the end of the lesson to kind of help
Was
students
I able to?
take what they had done and then push that a little bit further? Was that part of the lesson that?
I don't think so. Probably not.
Right. Okay.
But it would be good to have done it.
Yeah.
Or is like how relate it back to something that they already know, or to push their thinking to something we haven't done yet.
Either one, yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, either one. Just to kind of take what they've done and then
Push it more.
extend it.
Yeah. No, I think we just kind of ended.
Right. And then, so besides the group collaboration, was there any other collaboration that I maybe didn't see?
With the kids.
Yeah.
Thank you. Yep. Sure. Thank you.
You're next.
Was there other collaboration? Not on that lesson. I don't
Right.
think so.
Yeah, there was a lot of just small group, one-on-one.
Yes.
That seems.
Yep.
Yeah. Is there anything else you would change about the lesson?
The questioning, I guess some questioning, maybe some more praise, and the start of the lesson.
Yeah.
Other than that, I think, overall,
Yeah.
it was fine.
Yeah.
Mhm.
And were you able to take the work that students did? Was that a piece of work that you assessed in any way?
That was my first intention, was going to use it as like a formative.
Mm-hmm.
But then when they were talking with each other,
Right.
then I was thinking, okay, well that wouldn't really be totally assessing the one person.
Assessing the group thinking.
Right.
Right, which maybe not is.
Right, so I didn't.
Yeah.
I mean, I corrected them, I let them know
Mhm.
if they made a mistake on something, gave it back to them, but I didn't take it for a grade.
Right. Right. But that feedback to them is important. They have a
Uh-huh.
chance to fix that if they messed it up.
I didn't tell them to specifically,
Yeah.
like not fix in return.
Right.
But I was kind of surprised that, I mean, I want to say like maybe 2, 3 wrong was the most that kids got, and I mean for like 15,
That's-
with the option of
yeah.
15, that was a lot better than I actually thought they would have done.
Yeah. No, that makes sense. That's pretty solid.
Yeah.
To get that few wrong on something like that.
Yeah.
Because there's a lot of moving pieces, and energy. When you think about like heat energy and light energy, there's a lot of times you would go, I don't know which one's which, and so to get a couple
You
wrong.
could go back and forth. Yeah.
Yeah. Is there any? Do you think if you were to do this lesson again, you'd add in another assessment to kind of so that way you did know if they mastered the objective?
That would, yeah, I would like to. Do I have a thought on one?
Right.
No.
No, yeah.
Do you?
I was wondering if there would be like a scientific journal entry be added, maybe asking like the prompt, something like, describe the character energy versus sound energy versus light energy, or something like that. And that seems like that might be a lot. Or maybe just choose 2 of the energy forms.
And explain them?
And explain them. Yeah. Summarize what is heat energy, summarize what is light energy.
Yeah, that would be hard.
That would be hard.
Thinking about, putting those things into words for some of the kids.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, I mean, it could definitely have pushed it further.
Yeah. Well,
More writing. Yeah, exactly.
writing's always
Yeah,
good.
I know, writing in all areas.
Right. That's
Mhm.
it's one of our school. That is our school goal, I guess.
Yeah,
right?
you're right.
So but they're doing. I mean, obviously. So a lot of what I saw this lesson was kind of you took a bunch of. They had done a lot of stuff before. A lot of reading, a gallery walk.
They did, yeah.
They're talking
they've
about it. So
done a
they're
lot.
taking a lot of that and then just kind of organizing those thoughts in this lesson, and then you're gonna take that and go further with it,
Mhm.
or maybe go on to the next thing.
Right.
Right.
Yeah, exactly. Usually I like to do a SOAR as a type of assessment,
Mhm.
but for this one I let them collaborate more on it.
Mhm.
So, I mean, I took that away,
Well,
I guess,
yeah,
that part
but
away.
I think you took the assessment part away in order to differentiate for students, because there's a lot of content-specific vocab in science, and a lot of your ELLs.
Yep, and they needed it.
need to have that, right. So
So-
I think that's a form of differentiation that you
Yeah.
used,
Mhm.
kind of on the spot, because you
Mhm.
said, geez, this isn't gonna work as an
Yeah.
assessment, but it will work as a collaborative. There's still value added to this, it's just not gonna, because I won't be able to get an assessment like I thought I would.
Right.
So that differentiation, knowing your students, knowing what's needed from them,
Mhm.
and knowing what you need as a teacher to know that they're succeeding, I think that's one of your strengths as a teacher, and you just demonstrated it right there. Yeah.
Thanks.
So I think that is kind of what I observed, saw. So I
Okay.
do kind of want to ask a couple questions about what you saw. Like, how would you say my observation was of you? Did you find it obtrusive? Do you think the kids were distracted? Is there anything like that that was?
No, not at all. No, I don't think it was at all. I felt fine, I felt comfortable, and I think the kids weren't acting any different than what they normally would.
No, I didn't think so. I personally didn't think so
Yeah.
either, but I'm not in there as much as.
Yeah, no, I
obviously.
think, I don't know what, maybe it's just they're used to having people in a lot.
Yeah.
It doesn't really seem to faze them.
No, it didn't. They were.
Yeah.
Yeah. One of the questions I was thinking of is there was an IA
Mhm.
another adult in the room. What
Yep.
was her role?
She is a one-on-one CNA,
Okay.
so a nursing assistant for a student. And she, has a dual role of being an instructional assistant / CNA.
Functional aspect. How did she help that student access the material, do you think?
I think she tried to help the people in the group. I remember seeing her talk to some people in the group that were
Mm.
confused or went over, tried to help them. As far as like the instruction of it, I didn't really see, I didn't
Right.
see much on the instruction.
Yeah. Yeah.
But I know that's definitely a strong area for her, science.
Right.
So I think she felt comfortable in going over and helping them.
Helping with.
Mhm.
There was one thing I was thinking of that just kind of came back. When that student that has the aid was, because I think he missed a lot of material.
Yep.
He didn't have this sort when he came in, or the notes. He didn't think he had the notes, and so it was as you were giving the lesson, and as you were everything was trying to get settled in, he said, "Oh, I don't have this," and you just kind of said, "Okay, you're going to look on with this student who has it," and he's right next to you, and it just settled him, and he was like, "Okay," and he did it, and I thought that was a really great way to just redirect the situation, because that could have totally derailed the lesson if you said, "Okay, hold on, we got to stop, we got to find where this is," and then you've been starting up, and it just could have really derailed everything. But you just were able to expertly, and it was like the student student that he was going to share with was just moved his notebook over.
That was nice.
And it was just like this routine
good.
was set though, and this expectation of collaboration was set that was really strong. I thought that was great. And then we were able to continue the lesson like nothing happened. 2-second ordeal, if that. So, all right, I think that's
Good. Thanks for the feedback.
yeah. Thanks for letting me observe.
Sure.